Pure West Sports with Eaton-Evans and Morris Solicitors. We are on the air this Monday night in all the usual places and right now on the Pure West Radio Facebook page. And we are here through until 9 this evening. And coming up, well, it's the week where Haverfordwest County make their return to European football for the first time since 2004 when they travelled to North Macedonia this Thursday. We'll be speaking to former manager Wayne Jones, who as a player was a key member of the side that played in Europe all those years ago, and we'll find out about that trip to Iceland, what Haverfordwest perhaps can expect as they get ready to make a European return this week. We've also got a roundup of an exciting weekend of Pembrokeshire cricket and a look back at an exciting third test, and also a look at some Pembrokeshire footballers who are going well in the USA. That is all to come. You can get involved as well with the show. Gordon Thomas and Fraser Watson with me for company tonight. Fraser, first up, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Cricket dominated weekend, Ben. Mixed one, actually. Was in the Thunderhound seconds team, which took a hiding down at Carew thirds, but that did give me the chance to then watch the top of the table Division 1 game between Carew and Neyland really imperious in that chase there. A real statement win that was. And then, as you mentioned, Sunday, another gripping day at the Ashes, and this time England on the right side of it. So
yes, and we will come to that because it was, I think we all said last week, we fancied England could just go well at Headingley. That was the case just, and we'll come to that in just a sec. Gordon, how are you?
I'm very good, Ben, and yourself?
Yeah, not too bad at all, thank you. Let's start, shall we, with Pembrokeshire cricket. And Gordon at the top of the table. Is it all over yet? Is the Division 1 title done and dusted after the weekend?
Well, Fraser and I spoke about it being a crucial weekend for cricket in Division 1, and Carew and Neyland is always a big game. Let's be fair, Neyland have now are in the driving seat to retain the title after that win. I think they're now 27 points clear at the top of the table. They will take some shifting, and they're also looking forward to a final this coming Sunday against Narberth in the Duggie Morris, which will be played at Oakfield Park in Burton. So, yes, I'm afraid I can't see anybody catching Neyland now. That was the most important game of the weekend, but more importantly, it was the most important game of the season.
And it was a statement win, Fraser, wasn't it? Yeah. Neyland were pretty rampant and dominant, weren't they? Because having restricted Carew to 138 for 8, they were 9-wicket winners. That was some statement, wasn't it, in what was a crucial game?
I have to agree with going from here. Barring, of course, there's always scenarios you can have with certain games being rained off sometimes when others aren't. But barring that, I can't see them being stopped having watched them on Saturday. Yeah, I don't think you can underestimate how good a deck it was in Carew on Saturday. It was a sunny day. It was rock hard. It's a small ground, as Gordon knows as it is anyway. And to restrict them to 138 and 45 overs is some feat. And then I watched the run chase, and Nick Koeman and Patrick Bellaby opened up, put on 100, and just no ball was wasted. You know, anything in the slot was going, any loose balls were going, and even good balls running between the wickets. They looked pretty unstoppable. When you think, I think Ashley Sutton came in and batted at the end at 3 to get him over the line. In the hutch, they're not needed. You had Di Davis, Brad McDermott, Jenkins, even the Hannons themselves, Paul Murray. These are guys who would open, the Division 1 sides. They've got such strength and depth at the moment. They've hit a lot of momentum, and I think them winning the treble is a very realistic possibility now, starting with this Sunday, of course, at Duggie Morris.
And we'll come to that in just a sec, but just sticking with the league, do Carew have to look over their shoulder as well, Gordon? Because Cresselli not too far behind in third spot, and they also had a pretty dominant victory, didn't they? 149 runs they won at Branston. Cresselli racking up 279 for 6 in their innings. So that battle for first, second and third will continue, won't it?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Cresselli, I was impressed with them. I've seen them the last couple of weeks down our end at Burton and Langham. And what I'm impressed with Cresselli is that they're starting to bring some youngsters through with the experience they've got. They will be a really good side in the next 2 or 3 seasons if those boys stay together. So I don't know. Carew will have their confidence dented after that defeat, but Carew, they are strong-minded down there. They will bounce back. It will be interesting to see who finishes in runners-up spot because nobody's going to catch Neyland.
Okay, well, so 6 games to go, and it looks like Gordon and Fraser are saying we're pretty much there
I hope
with
we're
the
not wrong.
Division 1 title. Somewhat
Yeah,
nervously,
I'm
perhaps,
pretty
Fraser.
confident that's going to happen.
And we should also say down the divisions as well. Fraser, Haverfordwest, top Division 2. And Pembroke have gone top of Division 3 as well. And there's some competitive cricket being played all down the divisions this season.
Yeah, well, Adam James started the show in Division. I've had to write the knockdown here, the sort of knock that Gordon would appreciate, and I could only dream of 146 of 73 balls, 11 fours and 14 sixes, chasing down over 200 to beat Hook. We know Adam James. You go back to the 2020, sorry, I believe 2019, actually, Harrison Allen, the way he got hold of that finals and Oak, he's a destructive batsman. He's all or nothing. There's the terms people would use, but I'll call it all or nothing. You know, and he can take that away from teams. And Division 3 as well. We spoke to Jack last week, of course, with Pembroke, didn't we? They've got a lot of momentum going after winning the Alan Brown. They've gone above Lampthe. I can see last Saturday being actually a pivotal weekend. You look at the 3 teams top now, the top 3 divisions, Neyland, Haverfordwest and Pembroke. All the 3 would expect to be champions at the end of the year.
Okay. Gordon, you mentioned just now as well a cup final to come this weekend. The Duggie Morris final is at Burton and it's Neyland against Narberth. The 2 of you, whoever wants to do this for us, what's the format of this competition?
Again, it's a 2 innings affair. I believe, Fraser, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 2020, this one, isn't it?
20,
the Duggie Morris. And the Harrison Allen is 22 overs. So, yeah, it's a proper 2020 game. So it's a game of 2 innings. And again, Neyland are very strong in this. But they met Narberth last week in the Harrison Allen. And Paul Murray scored a brilliant century for him last week. But it rained off halfway through the game.
Right.
And much to my annoyance, the Pembroke County Cricket Club, they come back the following day and don't start from the first innings where it left off. They do the toss and do the whole game again. So his century isn't even recorded. But they did go on to win that.
Okay, so that's next weekend, and I'm sure we'll look back on that. Yeah, we'll look back on that. But
significant one, actually, the first of Burton since the death of Brian Griffiths, of course, which was quite sad. He did so much to prepare for that day. But it'll be quite an emotional day down there, I fancy.
And we'll follow that. But over 2 innings, it does seem hard to see Neyland not adding to their trophy cabinet, because that will be difficult to stop. They're in the mood at the moment, no doubt about that. Just whilst we're on the local cricket subject, actually, and we're going to talk about Haverfordwest County's trip into Europe very soon, but we should mention a friend of the show in the Daily Mail today, Riath Al Samurai, who we've had on the show a couple of times. He's written a column, hasn't he, this week, and there's a bit of a mention for 2 of our sides. He reflects on events of 2017, doesn't he? Cresselly and Carew, but he does so in quite a gentle way, and it's very well written. It's all over Twitter. It's very Riath, isn't it?
It's a brilliantly written piece, you know, and it's all fine for Riath, of course, sitting from afar there, from way outside of Pembroke, just steering everything up for the rest of us. But no, it's a humorous look back on. I think 6 years on, we probably can all look at it in that way now. And he makes a very good point about the Alex Carey situation and that as well. You know, these acts which, you know, some people chastise, some people hate forever. You know, there's always mixed opinions on them, but maybe sport does need them, because they divide opinions, they present arguments, don't they, Gord?
I think he must have been stuck for copy, actually. I might as well go back 6 years. I remember that well. I'll use Fraser's article and, you know, jazz it up a little bit, or steer up a hornet's nest back down in the Carew and Cresselly for us. I don't know.
The point he's making is about panto villains, isn't it? And it's about the spirit of cricket. And like you say, he's talking about Alex Carey and what happened with the Johnny Bairstow stumping. And he uses that as a bit of an example, doesn't he, of what happened back in 2017. It did make me think, though, imagine if we'd been doing this show 6 years ago. That would have been some debate, wouldn't it?
I think I'm glad we were.
Have a look at that. It's all over social media, and Riath is such a good writer. He really is. We've had him on the show, and there is a link in what we're going to talk to Wayne Jones about in just a sec as well, because he actually covered Haverfordwest County, didn't he, at Ninian Park back in 2004. So a bit of a link with that with our next guest. But just before we move on to football, we should talk about the Ashes. And Gord, did you follow that through yesterday afternoon?
I think we did. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's been a great series, to be honest with you. Even though England are now 2-1 down, we can say England actually won a test. That's brilliant, isn't it? But yes, conditions did allow England to get on top of Australia, and they made hard work of it in the end, mind. Once Root and Stokes had gone, I thought, oh dear, we've got problems here, even to knock off these last few runs off. But to be fair, they stuck to the guns, and they thoroughly deserved the win. And now we're looking forward to the next one in Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. Phrase, we did say last week, didn't we, that Headingley might just be a happy hunting ground for England. That, you know, history sort of did point that way. Gordon's right. They made a hard work of it. If that's a bit harsh, actually, because
I think it's nerves more than anything.
Yeah,
in such a big, it's tense environment, isn't it? And there's a lot of pressure on those players out there.
There was,
but you have to be professional, though, and. I think Stokes and Root should have done better, and they know they should have done better. But they will react in the next. That's the thing. These players do react when they get their opportunity again, and they're class players. And Australia will be to win it as well.
I felt, Fraser, England chasing 250. 251 to win. I did feel that we should do that actually when play started yesterday morning, and we did lose a few wickets, but I was relatively confident that we would chase that down.
I thought so. The batting conditions Sunday was certainly better than the half an hour they faced on the Saturday night. Getting through that with no wickets down was crucial. But look, we criticised the way they played at times with the first two tests. Been a lot of talk about baseball and so on, and maybe not ramming home advantages when they're on top, but. We should give them some praise in this test as well. They came up with the ball on Saturday night, critical period. They cleaned Australia up like they needed to, and they did get over the line on Sunday. They seized the moments like they haven't been seizing the first two tests. And we have to say it's been 14 days of gripping cricket. Whatever we argue about styles and this and that, it has been a captivating Ashes series. I can't remember one like this, even go back to 2005, where the results have been on knife edge for 3 consecutive tests. So hopefully, we'll get Old Trafford, and the decider at the Oval will be some occasion if it's 2-2.
Yeah, and that I think for the series, for England to win and go 2-2 and have a decider at the Oval would be fantastic. I think they could do it again at Old Trafford, to be honest. I think that there hasn't been that much between the two sides. Where England have been poor is in some of those moments where you just, you do need to, when you're 180 for one, you need to ram home that advantage and not play silly shots. I just think a bit of momentum from Headingley, and that would set up.
Also, I think that Test cricket has moved on as well. It was always a sort of, I shouldn't say sedate, but it was, they just ambled along, But these teams today, with each innings, they go out there and they have a go at it, and they put runs on the board. Even if they lose wickets, they're not worrying about it. And that's what makes it entertaining, and that's how cricket should be played. I'm delighted that Test cricket is moving in that direction now. After giving them so much stick for so many years for being laboured, they are now getting on with playing cricket and moving it along, and the fans are enjoying it as well from both sides.
I think that was no more apparent than yesterday, to be honest. They lost 4 wickets by lunch, but still managed to score over 4-5 and over. So by the time that they came out after lunch, they actually only needed under 100. So even though if you're talking 4 down, needing 150, 160, you probably make Australia favourites then. But the fact they kept the rate going whilst losing wickets, the game moved so fast, and it meant there wasn't as much pressure then on the tail, of course. Not that Mark Wood felt any pressure, I don't think. But certainly on Chris Wokes,
and Wokes played really well as well. Evening to Steve Price, who's got in touch, and you can do the same as well. Just message us on the Facebook page. We'll get to some of those. We will take a moment, because coming up in just a sec, sorry, let me just read Jason's comment. Jason says, surely the momentum is with England now. Tails are up and thoroughly deserve the win. And I think they did at Headingley. They did deserve the win, because they actually played the key moments. And you talk about playing aggressive cricket, Gordon. You are right. What I think they're doing as well is they're getting ahead of the game. So because they are pushing the scoring rate, it means there's no chance of a draw, really. And that puts pressure on the opposition as well, because you are just eliminating the draw from the match, really. Unless there's some weather around, there's always going to be a result. And that puts pressure on both sides, Steve Price makes a fair point as well. Folks needs to come in and take the gloves.
Quite right, Pele.
Quite right. Yeah, I agree. I think I'd probably have Bairstow in the team as a bat, but I think Ben Folks...
Well, he hasn't really produced much with the bat either, Ben. That's been the problem with Bairstow.
Not since the first test. But then tell you, if we pick Folkes, we could have 6, 7, and 8. Could be Stokes, Folkes, and then Wokes. It's one for the commentators, isn't it? Eh? Listen, we will take a moment.
Tongue twister, that, mate.
It is, yeah, not easy, that. We'll come back in just a sec. We'll be talking to the Haverfordwest former manager Wayne Jones as they get ready to head back into Europe for the first time in almost 20 years. Wayne was in the side playing left back, I think, wasn't he, when the Bluebirds did it last, and he'll be with us in just a few moments. It's Monday evening.
Left back in the changing room.
Well, you can say that to him in just a sec, Gord. We're back in a few moments on Pure West.
Out then back in second link.